Okay, guys. So I am here to talk to you guys about collection agency, bad debts, and medical bills. A lot of time people are stuck with this stuff on the credit card. They're stressing out. They don't know what to do, how to pay for it. It is very unfortunate that the cost for our care is so much crazy. And I just want to take a quick moment to acknowledge that President Obama and his Obamacare have done greatly for our people and particularly United States of America. Think about this. Before Obama, I was sitting in an emergency room in one of the number one trauma center in the city of Seattle. You know, Seattle is one of the fastest growing city today, but most people don't understand. Before all of this growth, before Obamacare kicking in, man, there was a man in the emergency room next to my ex-girlfriend and I. His legs, his wounds was undressed, meaning it's cut open, infected, whatever it was. It looks raw, right? The hospital staff came and tell him because he signed a discharge paper, he has to leave. They're pushing him right out the door to a taxi. And he asked, "Aren't you going to stitch me up?" "So, sorry, you already signed your consent for release. We have to push you out now. There's not much we can do for you." Now that's the situations where it broke my heart. It made me questions about humanity. What can we do? I mean, I know I saw my payments going up a little bit in terms of my deductible, my premium, and I have to pay for my health insurance, but I don't mind to save people, okay? And I have seen where there is a mom who's spent her life working for U.S. Department of States, represent her country abroad, and she was telling me about how Obamacare saved her life because she was at the stage before Obamacare have to decide whether she's going to feed her children or spend that last money for her cancer treatments. And she has pre-existing condition which her insurance company denied her from coverage. So anyway, fast forward to today. We have a lot of collection agencies that aren't aggressive like the 90s anymore because we have law protecting consumer now. But often, a lot of time, you will see your healthcare provider come back. For instance, mine. I used to be Group Health, now it's Kaiser. Well, I got crazy bills in the mail. I'm looking at them like, what is going on here? Are they changing the billing system? Because it does happen. Hospital change the billing system. Sometimes we'll have new employee they're changing, and they have to train them. And not all the time people caught up. Sometimes coders they make mistakes in billing. The supervisor's supposed to catch it, but they can't catch everything, and then things just slip through the crack, and then you getting the bills for it. For something like, hey, if they would just bill them correctly with the code that is signed by IDC-10, the International Disease Code, then the insurance company pay for it. If they're looking at the bill for the treatment and it doesn't line up, they ain't gonna pay for it. So it's not the consumer fault. It's the medical providers and also the billing department. They need to work where I can understand each other. What are the charges and fees are for? So in my case, I saw two different transactions for one laboratory specimens they're having to run some pathologies on. I'm like, what on earth? Why am I getting charged twice for something? Two different prices. Won't disclose it to me until I called and say, well, that was professional, technical. Technical to use the equipment, professional mean labors. I'm like, what? The bill doesn't break that down, but okay, fine. But how come the insurance only covered one, didn't cover the other? Well, it was denied. Okay, then whoever submit that, go fix that shit. Because where I've got my procedure done and who is my insurer, it's the same thing. Kaiser is my insurance, same where I get my medical treatments from. So why do I need to call a third party and call around the block? Doesn't make any sense, right? So they're fixing that. And then I realized the copay I made $200 for my procedures no longer apply to my procedures because I paid them the same day I arrived, which the reception asked me to pay for it. I pay for it. That money went applied toward one of the lab and also a back bill from 2011. Today is 2017. What? How did I have a bill that a previous insurance company of mine didn't pay for, and now I suddenly find out about it? So I have to remind them it's illegal to collect a debt that is passing the state law, state of Washington, to have things protecting consumer. For instance, RCW 4.16.040. All written debt, 6 year. All verbal debt, 3 years. So beyond that period, you can't collect it from me. It's over. It's done. You figure it out. life goes on. So for many of you guys who's struggling on your credit reports, and you can't pay for this shit, let it sit out. 6 years later, goodbye. Because in April to have, it's considered written that once you receive care, you have to sign away your consent. You always have to sign into your doctors. Those are called consent. And also receiving the responsibility to pay, right? But when you put your name on that signatures, that's when it becomes valid. On that particular day, that's when the clock starts ticking. 6 years later, if that's still on your credit reports, or somehow you pay them to mishap the bills or to submit it to the insurance company, and the insurance company reject the whole shebang, that's not your fault. You ain't paying for none of that. 6 year, none. I have to explain to the lady. So that should give you some kind of confidence, self-esteem to go back and challenge your provider and your billing people. Okay? Hey, now, if I was an asshole, I'm going to pay for that bill. I'm going to take them to court, and I'm going to sue them for more of it. Because now they're breaking the law, right? They're collecting beyond that period, and it's not because, I want to pay them to put me in a situation where I have to. It's your medical provider. If you don't pay them, what happened next, right? So there are many circumstances when I pay the bills that still send me the damn bills and tell me I didn't pay for it. I've argued that with the airlines. I argued that with the hospital. I win my cases because I say I'm a resident of the state of Washington. Our state is beautiful. We have a lot of laws protecting consumer. So if you're going to collect a debt from me, you better identify yourself and you better be a licensed person to collect that debt. First of all, you can call me from another state. You ain't licensed here? Sorry, you can't collect that debt. It doesn't work like that because you're not licensed in my state. If you're licensed in my state, then we can talk about it. Otherwise, you're breaking my state law. I'm going to sue you for it. That's just in my opinion. I'll play aggressive all day long. And if you have issues with a bank, you go to the Office of Currency Control and your state attorney general. That's a good start. That should resolve a lot of issues. And you always want to watch your credit report. Sometimes people report things that are inaccurate. For instance, I have a bank, my bank, which I took a mortgage out from, have a third party doing the recording on my credit report. Somehow mishap, they do double entries. Oh, that's not happening. I file my complaint. They have to take it off. Okay? These complaint doesn't take long, you guys. It takes no more than 30 minutes of your time to address thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars that otherwise you're too stressful to sweep under the rug and you pay a couple $100 to an attorney. You can do it yourself. All you have to do is just educate yourself. By not going to law school, something I've learned along the way is Google research with RCW. If I have a hard time reading and understanding, I find somebody who have better comprehension skills than I do and read it back to me. See, once you understand what is written and what its intent, you can argue based upon that because under any RCW, in my opinion, they have requirements. Unless those requirements met, that's the only time it could be applicable. So, there you go. Play to your advantage, and you know what? Hell with it. If it's their mistakes for not correcting the mistake and catching the mistakes, you should be responsible for it. So that's my hope to you. Have a good day.